Hello, 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 everyone. You're locked in to another episode of The Rest Stop. You're here with me, Abby, your local rambler and wanderer, and I'll be your company for the next 10 or so minutes as we talk about anything and everything all at the same time. So, I'm sure you've noticed by now that I'm doing a kind of solo flight today, no guests with me. And it's actually for a very good reason. I'll give you 3 seconds to guess. 1, 2, 3, time's up. So yeah, anyway, the main reason why I'm all by my lonesome for today is because we're kind of at a special point in time, and that is, drumroll please, the mid-year. Well, okay, almost mid-year. It's the 30th of May right now, but just think about it. We're like, what, barely 2 days away from June? 2021? Like, considering everything that's happened, it's extremely wild to me how 6 months just whizzed by. Like, is it just me, or is time actually moving faster? Like, is that a sign of aging, or... I'm kidding. But yeah, so, in celebration of us, of you, making it to the middle of the year, we're gonna be doing a little special episode that I like to call Rest Stop, Vibe Check. I'd like this to be this sort of tradition for this podcast. Like, we do a little check-in every 6 months, end of the year, start of the year, middle of the year, you name it. Just, a check-in on us, on ourselves. Because, looking back on it now, 2020 really just went by. I don't know about you, but I sure as hell don't remember any of it. It was this utterly unhinged fever, dream, nightmare, hallucination, except it's reality, and we have to live with it being a whole year that we can never get back. Going into 2021, I didn't have high hopes, but I'd like to think that there was this collective wish for it to be somehow better. And to its credit, it is better, at least by just a tiny bit. COVID is still very much ongoing, as well as the new normal that it brought along. The online classes are still a thing. The lockdowns and the protocols are still in place. By this point, we've had a whole year, especially to all my Filipino kababayans over there. We've had this whole year of living like this. And, it's still a blessing that we're still here, that we're healthy and well. But this lifestyle just isn't doing wonders, you feel me? Especially to our mental health. God, like, the toll this whole pandemic has taken on everyone's mental health. I'll get to that in a bit, but let's first be a little technical here. Throw in some facts, you know what I'm saying? So, mental health is actually defined by the WHO, or the World Health Organization, as a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So, with the pandemic in the picture, all of these aspects have taken this turn for the worse. Like I said, the stresses of life have piled up due to the abundance of new normal policies. Productivity has decreased, and a study that, Forbes, am I right? Yeah, Forbes. A study that Forbes actually cited, it showed 167 hours worth of work lost in a span of just 7 months. So, if you think that the pandemic actually got you feeling all quote-unquote lazy, well, first of all, you're wrong. And second of all, you're not lazy. It's the literal pandemic taking a toll on you. That's another reason, I think, that inspired this whole episode today. Like, I just wanted to highlight the importance of mental health to us in our lives. Especially since, as I've mentioned before, I've been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. And with that factor in play, the past year and the first half of this one has just not been easy nor kind. Like, even now, honestly, there are points where my mental state just takes a dive. And it feels to me that it's only getting worse. And it's a detriment for sure. Because when those low moments hit, I just can't even function. Like, there's this sheer burnout, and I couldn't do anything at all. I can't even take care of myself, much less work. So, I don't know how much all of you listening right now can relate to that, But if you do even just the slightest, I just want to say that I see you. I recognize you. How you've just been keeping at it. How you've been going on no matter how challenging it gets. Just salute straight up. I wish I could tell you that it gets easier, but here I'll tell you a secret. It's been something that I've been advised a long time ago. The situation, life in general, it rarely gets better. What gets better is your management of your mentality. It's you. And when you find that happening, everything just comes a little bit lighter. You get me? So, on that note, I would like to share some tips that I actually found from the WHO website about managing your mental health. And they're really relevant, especially during the whole lockdown going on, along with the fact that mental health care just sadly isn't friendly on the pockets. There's this list of little habits that you can practice in the safety of your own home, all by yourself, and it's called the hashtag Healthy at Home campaign. So I've been also trying to apply these tips little by little in my life, and they, in fairness, they do help somehow. So number one, keep informed. Listen to advice and recommendations from your national and local authorities. Follow trusted news channels. I think this may actually help with lessening the anxiety of not knowing what is going on around you. Like, it provides the sense of grounding or control. But like all things, it should be done in moderation. And that's where our number two comes in. Number two is minimize news feeds. Seek the latest information at specific times of the day, once or twice a day if needed. As it goes, spending too long on social media is not healthy, and it may actually contribute to the feelings like negativity, like fear, especially when it comes to seeing sensitive topics and discussions on your newsfeed. So, you've heard that, fellas. No more doom scrolling. Actually, one thing I did apply to this tip is, those app timers on your phone? I've limited myself to like an hour each for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and surprise, surprise, it's cut down my screen time significantly. Anyway, number three is have a routine. Keep up with daily routines as far as possible, or make new ones. So, are you all familiar with that saying? What was it? Familiarity begets comfort. So, relating to that, this tip is actually all about having this series of regular events in your day. And when you stick to it, you'll find that it helps you focus better because, it becomes this muscle memory and you don't have to dread as much feeling lost because you already have this set list of things to do. Oh, but, related to this, on number four, you should still, number four, do other activities. Be sure to keep the right balance with offline activities in your daily routine. So, variations of activities may actually help break this, what's the word, monotony in your routine. Like, for example, video games, movies, and other hobbies that can help you relax. I think it gives you this little something to look forward to every day. It's fun, don't you think? Because, like, at least there's this stimulation still going on, and it's a good way to avoid boredom. And what better way to do that than with your friends, your family, other people? So, that's number five. Number five, social contact is important. If your movements are restricted, keep in regular contact with people close to you by telephone and online channels. So, I'm sure we can all relate to this one. Like, have you ever hit this point where everything just became so overwhelming that the only thing you can think of doing really is to drop a call to your friend and just unload, talk like what we're doing about everything and nothing, and you barely even notice that, suddenly boom, an hour has passed and suddenly you're not feeling quite as heavy anymore. It's magic, really. Like, I really do believe that having a friend that you can run to feels incredibly reassuring. Like, in this whole chaos that is life right now, you're there, you're one constant. Aww. Oh god, man, that had me feeling all emotional. Wait, let me let me have a drink. Wait, oh god. Wow. Stay hydrated, fellas. So, on to our last tip. We have number 6. Oh, I think this is the most important. Do not discriminate. So, fear is normal, but it can sometimes be expressed in ways which are hurtful to other people. Remember to be kind. Wow. So, I think, focusing on expressing kindness and compassion is better for maintaining your mental health, compared to spreading needless hate and prejudice. It's just the better option. Like, this one, I think, is really more on refocusing your energy on what is truly important. All challenges aside, I think this pandemic really was this eye opener to everyone, to like where their priorities really lie, and it helped somehow, see what you really hold close to your heart, what you really value. And that just about does it for today's episode. Wow. I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling a little lighter now. So, to wrap this up, I just want to say that, to remind rather, that we should always keep in mind and in heart that everyone's struggles look different. No one person in this world has the exact same experience that you have as the other. So there's this quote, that goes like, quote unquote, we are all in the same boat. But honestly, I think that's just a load of BS. The fact of the matter is that it's not the boat that we have in common, it's the storm. Storm of the pandemic, storm of life, you get it. Just some people have metaphorical yachts to weather against it. Others may even have ships. But still others, they might just have flimsy, weak rafts, rowboats, small planets that, barely stand a chance against the waves. What I'm trying to say is that in the storm, the struggle, this pandemic, nothing is for certain, and no two people stay afloat the same way. On that note, I would like to close with this little something that I picked up, a little sailor's blessing. Fair winds and following seas for the rest of this journey, that we may emerge from this devastating storm a little broken and worse for wear, but still whole and hopeful for the sunshine that follows. So that's a wrap for our 10 or so minutes for this episode. I sure do hope that you all enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'm gonna catch you all next week for another episode of The Rest Stop. Bye guys!